Hello, welcome back to the TheDiviShow. This is episode number 6. How are you guys doing? Tell me in the comments below. How am I doing? Please definitely tell me in the comments below. Today there is a very special guest whom I requested to come on board. I think even way before I even started the show, and she's finally here. Cigarettes Grey Vriddhi Sawlani. She is a brilliant photographer. इनकी पूरी जर्नी के बारे में हम जानेंगे कैसे वो पहले मुंबई में थी and the first time I discovered that she was working at Habitat, जहाँ के आप videos very often you would be seeing Habitat पीछे लिखा होता है, and a lot of comedians perform on that stage. So she was the videographer there, and then COVID happened, she came back. तो उनकी पूरी journey after COVID, she started her own studio. उन्होंने अपने equipments reveal किए हैं, उन्होंने अपना style reveal किया है, कैसे brands उनको पसंद हैं जो on board आए और उनके साथ मिलकर काम करें. उन्होंने स्मॉल बिजनेस के लिए एक बहुत ही स्पेशल चीज़ बनाई है और स्पेशल चीज़ बना रहे हैं. तो प्लीज़ जयपुर का जो भी इंसान जिनको मार्केटिंग, फोटोशूट्स, एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप, बिजनेस, इनमें से किसी में भी इंटरेस्ट हो, प्लीज़ ये वीडियो एंड तक देखो. एंड मैं आपको एंड में मिलती हूँ. Hi guys, welcome to the 6th episode of the Devi Show by Big Flex Marketing. Today I have Cigarettes Grey with me, Vriddhi Grey.
There's too many names to
Yeah, too many names. और उसका मैं breakdown अभी करूँगी. I wish हमने ये पहले start किया होता क्योंकि हम काफ़ी fun conversation already कर चुके हैं. So hi, what's up?
Everything's great. How are you doing?
I am good man यार. New thing that I've picked up. अब वही चल रहा है मेरी लाइफ में और कुछ नहीं चल रहा.
But this is very interesting.
Thanks man. Like we spoke a lot about this पहले. So I wish मैं वो डाल पाती but अब वो नहीं हो सकता. So you tell me about your story. What's happening? आजकल कैसा है? How's the mood? How's the life? How's the mental health, physical health? Doing a lot of Pilates these days.
Yes sir. We're on a journey.
Yeah.
Basically have like goals for myself now.
Okay.
And this was not there before. So I'm not giving importance to my body now. So Pilates is super, like it's therapy. Like it's like I know like by the end of the day I'll go there and I'll just relax and it'll be like a feel good feeling, you know, like ending the day the perfect way kind of a thing.
Wow,
so
man.
That's what Pilates is for now. So it's keeping me in check.
And something in consistency coming.
Consistency is great, and I think that's the only thing which is consistent, which is very interesting because as like a freelancer, because I do like freelance photography and everything happens very like project wise.
Yeah.
Nothing is very fixed ever. It's like abhi project aaya, then you know you never know in 10 days you'll get one, or like in 2 days you'll get one, or tomorrow I'll get one. You never know, right? So in that context of things, this is one thing that I know that will be regular. So then it becomes very like calming me down kind of a situation there.
Wow man.
Yeah.
I think post COVID 1-2 साल सबको लग गया to crash down and build themselves up.
Yeah, that is so true. Like it became like even when we were like in COVID, there was like we found like small things to do for ourselves also. But like once we got out, it was like okay, we start afresh now. Like and
even when we got out, तब ऐसा था कि यार अब एकदम से खुला है. So there was excitement कि ये भी कर लो, वो भी कर लो.
Exactly.
And I think finally now everyone is स्थिर.
हाँ, अभी हो गया, अभी stable, अभी settle हो रहा है धीरे-धीरे.
अब लोगों को priority समझ में आ रही है. Lessons जो 2-3 साल में सीखे वो apply कर रहे हैं life में.
Yeah, a lot of time to introspect, man. That was a lot of time to introspect.
I swear.
ज़्यादा overanalyze भी हो गया थोड़ा.
We were like caged monkeys, and then we were free, and then now we have like evolved brains in our heads. So it's like a new concept altogether for us.
That is true. And like with I think the aspect of mental health also, it's just like people have so much time to think about like, you know, what's going on, what's happening.
Yeah.
So I think people have become more aware. I have realized that also after 2 years like of COVID happening, and then coming back to a real all this regular life. I feel like that has changed a lot. People are more aware, and they want to work on it, and they want to see ki acha, this is better for me, this is not better for me, like that, which is very interesting, like a perspective that I've seen with people changing.
True.
Yeah. So
how has it been like before COVID, after COVID, as a creator, as a photographer? Brands कैसी आ रही हैं अब?
Before COVID, I was working in Bombay. I was working at this comedy club called Habitat. So we were I was doing all kind of shows, like recording all kind of shows, from your Karan Gill to your Kenny Sebastian to your everything. I've seen all comedians doing trash shows.
I never knew this about you, man. Like never.
Yes. all these poetry also, like Anirez and everything. So I've done a lot of that, like for a year and a half.
Okay.
And that was exactly essentially my job, to shoot all of this.
Okay.
And record all of this, and then COVID happened. And I had to come back. That's like my hometown, so I had to come
back. When I started following you, you were posting, and it was during COVID only, or you were posting like these newly stitched clothes that you were making with your grandma.
Yeah.
Very cute stuff, very wholesome.
Yeah, so that what happened. We came back thinking that okay, we'll come back in like a 2-day situation. Sara saman wahi pada hai, everything is there. We come back, we can't go back anymore. It's 1 year down the line, we have to tell the packers to get the stuff because we can't go to Bombay anymore. So all of that happened, and then at home, it was like we were just all together. Like I was living with my grandparents at that time, even now. And then she like my grandmom, she's my great grandmom basically.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. So she was like a teacher, like she was a stitching and all this, like she used to teach like home science. She had like so many ups, like all old clothes that she had, which was like basically what happened was that she didn't want to throw anything. Everything had a value. So I was just sitting with her, I was just vibing with her, and I said like, let's try something, क्योंकि घर पे बैठे कुछ करने को भी नहीं है, and you're also bored, I'm also bored, let's just like do this. And for the longest time, that was the bonding time we really had, because we never had the time. I was busy, like I would not be home so much. So then we started making those clothes. It was like we started upcycling basically. Whatever chota katran she had, we just put them together, and I used to be like, acha aise kar lete hain.
And you photographed it also very beautifully, man. Like I still remember.
Exactly. That was like this I know how to do. So I'm like, this
I can pull this off.
I can pull this off. आप मुझे बता दो कैसे करना है. So then that happened, which was very interesting, and then like a lot of like people really loved it. And it was so wholesome at that time when there was nothing happening. Everybody was home only. And then a lot of like magazines picked it up, and it was very interesting. And like my
और उससे पहले Instagram page was
photography.
अच्छा.
It was photography. But it was not a lot of
before. काफी सारे shots हैं, but मतलब very segregated. मतलब अब जाके आपने पूरी grids and proper
right.
started taking it seriously after COVID.
No, for me Instagram was from the beginning, when Instagram just came out also. It was just like the first, like we were like I think 4 or 5 people in my school. We were the few people to just join Instagram very recently. And we were like, oh, photos say we can play around here and all of that. So for me, like in school also, like Instagram was like something that I used to use a lot. And then because it was just photos, and photos for me was very interesting as a concept in school also. So I just started doing that a lot. And at that point I was just trying out all kind of photography, right? So that's what you see in each. There's like travel photography, and there's some like portrait, some hands, something. All of that is happening niche, because I was out trying it out. Let's see how is this. And then when like Bombay happened, I was doing a lot of commercial work, and I did not want to put a lot of commercial work out there on my Instagram. The kind of way I want to curate and create, it's not that. It's just commercial work that I have to do to like pay my bills. And then that happened, and then जब मैं वापस आई तब I had a lot, exactly the same thing. I had a lot of time to introspect. I'm like, okay, this is something I'm interested in. This is something that I'm liking. Let's try this. And when you have that time to try it out, you then start realizing and building up your own portfolio like that, right?
True.
And that's what happened with my Instagram. And then it became like a portfolio for me. So work was coming from there. Work started coming from there. People started inquiring from there. And
आज की date में like where is you have your Behance also,
Yeah,
which
I
is
have.
very beautifully curated as well.
Right.
So where does most of your leads come in from? Like what is a good channel for photographers to optimize
See,
on?
Behance, definitely. Because anybody who's coming to Behance are coming with this motive that they want to hire somebody who's basically in the field or doing something. And people who are in the field and like doing all this would be having a Behance, like, you know.
Yeah.
Updated, yeah. And on the other hand, Instagram is great too. I think Instagram has given me a lot of business, and I was highly dependent on it for a longer time. Like I was getting, because I used to put out work, it used to get attraction, people used to reach out to me, and I used to get work. Like that's how it used to work. But abhi in दिनों में it's gone down. It's gone down because बिल्कुल भी patience नहीं है लोगों में. मतलब मेरे में भी नहीं है. जब मैं content देख रही हूँ तो मैं तो expect नहीं कर सकती किसी और में हो.
They won't sit down,
exactly,
the posts and read the captions,
exactly,
the concepts.
Right. So then what happens is people miss out on that. So Behance becomes like very like professional in that term.
Yeah.
Very professional in that term. And Instagram also, like it's a good platform still, I would not deny, for you to get work.
Yeah.
But either you have to have like a great, like, what do you call it, eye for it. Like you know, where you're just like, okay, एकदम up to date रह रहे हैं एकदम, और वो बहुत difficult हो जाता है when you're constantly also physically like going out there and working. So maintaining that becomes very difficult.
And you do it yourself?
Yeah, I do all of it myself. So basically, for me now it's become that whatever work that I really passionately love and like feel like this is a great concept to put out, I put it out on Instagram thinking that ठीक है, it's out there.
Yeah.
It's not coming from a perspective कि मेरे को काम चाहिए इससे. It's just out there. If somebody sees it, sees it.
Yeah.
No, like if like it's misses out by somebody, it's fine. Like for me.
What other channels do you use apart from these?
See, honestly, initially to Instagram, Behance is still there. But after that point, no, it becomes like a word of mouth thing. At least something that I've noticed in Jaipur.
Yeah.
That I've been working here for 2 years, 3 years now. It's a very word of mouth city.
For sure.
So,
everything is reference.
Everything is reference. So and also the kind of relationship you build with even if you do the one project and if you build a good relationship with the team, there is 100% guarantee you'll get another project. It's the kind of relationships you build with the person, the kind of work that you're putting through. And I've seen like people probably are not that great with their work, but they're great with like people. So then they get a lot of work also. So because of word of mouth in the city at least. So that happens, and I think that's something that's really that's currently working for me. Where it's just like ki, theek hai, like you know, I work with you. Next time we meet, we plan something else, and it's just like a cycle that keeps going.
Yeah. And like, what is the difference between people who were coming to you back then and now? कैसे concepts आ रहे हैं, कैसे business ideas आ रहे हैं?
So I have
I think people have now started appreciating the role of a proper photographer, stylist, like the whole team.
Definitely.
इससे पहले नहीं था इतना.
Definitely. So the thing is, this is another thing that I understood. ये COVID की वजह से हुआ है. At least around me. Digital
चीज़ों की value.
Exactly. Every brand wants a photo. Because everybody wants to be online, because everything is online.
When I started marketing, like I also started my Big Flex marketing during COVID.
Yeah.
तो मैं जिस भी एजेंसी के साथ काम कर रही थी, they were not doing photo shoots. वो ऐसे थे कि यार client photo देगा, हम design करके डाल देंगे. And my first vision was कि यार, if you're not doing visuals for a brand, you're doing nothing.
Yeah.
मतलब that is the whole point of marketing it, क्योंकि एक detachment आ गया था brands का और clients का.
Yeah, of course.
वो complete ही अच्छे visuals के साथ होता है.
It has to be very cohesive in the way it's happening, right?
Yeah.
So definitely, I mean, that has happened, and the shift is very major. So in that case, COVID worked out great for me as a creative.
Yeah.
I'm like कि सबको चाहिए अभी, so we'll do it for them. But the thing is, the value, how much value it holds, how much can you like, you know, spend for it, is still something that's like a little dilly-dally.
Yeah.
People don't know how much to spend for it.
Yeah.
They have this kind of budget, which is fair. I mean, if you're a new brand, you won't have a bigger budget to use. But I've like with me, happened when I initially started in Jaipur. Great clients. I know they have like shitloads of money.
Yeah.
But they won't take it out. They won't take it out because it's their mentality. Ki, why is this so important?
Yeah.
Why is this so important that we have to pay so much? It's like coming from a very business prospect of things, right? Like it's like, why should I dedicate so much amount for just 5 photos, let's say. And for me to understand that, at that time I felt like super insecure. I felt like, oh shit man, like is my work not worth it?
Yeah.
Is it like, am I not doing enough? But it's not that. Technically it's them not understanding why it's important.
Yeah.
So then when you understand that aspect of things, then you start taking projects where the other person do understand. Jab tak, if they don't understand the value of the photo that they're gonna put out about their brand, their clothes, their product, I can't do anything about it. So they need to understand first that, you know, if you want to achieve this, if you want to show a brand which is luxury, we need to put in that much effort to make it luxury. Or any kind of, you want to make it organic, you need to show it. So for it to show it, the visual needs to reciprocate na, जो आपका brand कहना चाह रहा है. So then in that context of things, I feel like initially समझ नहीं आया था कि क्या हो रहा है. अब ऐसा लगता है, अब now it's become to a place where I will choose a project where the other person, the client, need to be on the same wavelength. Like they need to be on the same wavelength where like, okay, we understand where you're coming from and I understand where you're coming from, and then we do a collaboration together. Like I've started to choose those projects instead of it coming to be and me being feeling like, okay, I'm not enough.
Yes. Oh man.
So
that might be a very dark space to be in.
it's no, like,
but everyone questions मतलब एक point पे कि
exactly. आप जब start out करते हो ना कोई, I think any creative field, if you're an artist, you will feel insecure at some point. It's very natural for you to have it. It's just like how to control it. Either the insecurity can get to you and then you're like paralyzed कि अब क्या करें, or you just work it out and figure a way around the whole idea of like, you know, how the industry works.
And how is your process like कि concept से लेकर final edits तक क्या processes होते हैं?
सबका ना बहुत different होता है. मतलब if I have to tell you, if I am doing a personal project for me, it's mostly, actually almost every time, coming from a very personal space. I'm like, because for me photography is a way of expression. So for me, I'm expressing this because I probably can't express it any other way. Right? So what I'm doing is I'm conceptualizing the shoot on insecurities that we did just talk about. So basically I will think about it. I'm like, okay, this is like probably something that I'm feeling or I've felt. So I know how that
comes from an inner realization.
Exactly. So now I'm not in a space where I'm feeling insecure, but I know how it feels like. So I want to put this across. So then I'll start thinking about like what are the ways, you know, people express their insecurities. What are the areas people feel insecure about.
Okay.
And then you start penning down the basics of that particular term, let's say insecurity. You start putting it down like, इससे ये होता है, like people have like body issues they feel insecure about, and then you start putting that all of this down, and then you start finding ways to like put it visually. Like how is the easiest way to put this visually that the other person can understand what I'm trying to say. And then once you figure that out, then the mood boarding happens, and then like everything else happens, and then you find a product, like you put a production
you work
together.
On personal projects with the team as well? I definitely do. You do need to, like, you need to have a stylist, you need to have a makeup person, you need to have a model, you need to have the like, you know, location. So it's like, it works like that only. It's basically, what I basically do is that I make it like a proper project only. It's not like मैं जाके बस photo खींच के आ गई. It's like a proper project. It's like doing brand work, but it's my branding. So it's like that. So I like, that's usually how I work things also, where I'm like I will do 5 projects which are brand commercial. Then I will save up, and then I'll do a project that I believe in. So it becomes like a balance, so that I'm able to do what I love also, but I'm also able to pay my bills at the same time. You are more of a conceptual artist, I would say, rather than, you know, being like in a specific niche.
Right.
यार मैं food ही कर रही हूँ या मैं fashion ही कर रही हूँ.
Right.
You are more on the conceptual side. How does that what kind of people should look out for you? What kind of brand should look out for you? कैसे concepts की हम बात करते हैं when we say you are a conceptual photographer?
If I tell you concept, for me, I think everything comes from a story. It has to be a storytelling that's happening. For me personally, it needs to be a storytelling. It needs to be something that when you look at a picture, you feel, you understand, and you feel, oh, there's a story behind this.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, if a brand is approaching me, a brand needs to have a story straight. There was this particular brand that I worked for. They're a home bed brand. Home is something that is different from fashion completely. But their concept was something that I really enjoyed when they told me about this. They were like, we are, very laid back. We just want to have it very like calm and like composed kind of a thing. And then we started working on it, and we were like, okay, let's do something which is more like, sukoon. Let's do something which is, very calmer. And then we start building on that. We start building on those feelings. I'm like, how do you feel calm?
Yeah.
Probably like, you're chilling in your backyard. How do you feel calm? Like you feel like, okay, I want to listen to music, just be on my own.
Yeah.
The marketing person who's with me, she only told me that, it has to be like a sukoon thing. And then we started building up those corners in the location, and we figured it out ki acha ise aise karna hai. And then you put it out the picture, automatically you want the brand because you feel like, I'll feel relaxed.
Yeah.
So it's a concept that it's the brand story. You need to have a brand story very clear and very कि आप end तक आप उस brand चाहते क्या हो कि वो क्या बोले आपके लिए. Like for that matter, like there was another brand that I worked for, which was, they wanted like, it was like a war zone that they wanted.
Okay.
So we started making the whole theme very dark. Started making, like, it's just these smaller details that add up to a bigger story. And if you have that vision for your brand, I will help you to curate the exact visual that you have for it. And because that's what I want. Whatever story you have, kapde sab bech rahe hain. A lot of people on the internet are selling 100 kind of products. It's the story you tell. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to tell a story through you, for you, like that, visually.
And what are like your favorite tools, favorite equipments when you do this? Like as of now, what are you using?
So I'm using a Sony A7 III.
Okay, I have zero idea about this, but I hope जो amateur photographers ये देख रहे हैं उनको idea मिल जाए.
Yeah.
That's why the question.
Yes, it's Sony A7 III. Sony is a great body to use for reference for people to understand. Sony is a great body to use. I personally enjoy using it. And that's what I use.
How was like the evolution? Like start किस कैमरा से किया था?
Canon से किया था 550D. वो भी मतलब बर्थडे पे मिला था. क्योंकि तब ऐसा लगता कि अरे फोटोग्राफी करनी है, मैं तो फोटोग्राफर बनूंगी. अच्छा. तभी मतलब ऐसे हॉबी था वो स्कूल में. तो
सबसे पहली फोटो याद है?
सबसे पहली फोटो
मतलब जब ये फीलिंग आ गई थी कि यार फोटोग्राफर बनेंगे.
सबसे पहली फोटो याद नहीं है, पर मेरे को ये याद है कि तब मेरे को ना ऐसे it used to be cool to take pictures of animals that time. It still is like a profession. I am not but like as a hobby, squirrel का फोटो ले लिया, चिड़िया का फोटो ले लिया, all of that used to happen a lot, right? So I remember that like outside my house there was like a plant and उसपे ना वो cocoon बना हुआ था. And I got super intrigued. और मैं रोज स्कूल से आती थी, मतलब मैं इसे रोज फॉलो करूंगी till the time it becomes a butterfly. Right? So that happened. I'll tell you the story. So then this is like, okay, every day I come back from school, 2 बजे आई, कैमरा निकाला, फोटो खींचा. It's like all of that happening. And then and I knew, like I could see the cocoon getting bigger and she'll come out right. I come back in the school like after 15 days. Every day I'm doing the 15 days, and I come back and the cocoon is open and she's like not there. Oh, and I'm like, oh my god, I feel so much build up. So much build up for nothing. Oh shit, man. That's when I realized life is unfair.
Oh man. तब से अभी तक के आर्टिस्ट में क्या
ट्रांजिशन तो अब हम जानवरों की फोटो नहीं लेते.
अब हम जानवरों को प्यार करते हैं.
Yes, for loving. But yeah, so then I told you, right, like it became like a transition phase for me. It started with like taking छोटे animals का photo, plants, nature basically. Nature was easy
and
to
who
find.
in this journey were supporting you?
Like my family has been super supportive throughout, which is, I'm super grateful for it. But I wanted to become a doctor first, so that happened.
What a waste.
Yeah. And my handwriting is trash. So like handwriting तो वही है, बस अब doctor बन जाओ. So then all of that happened. I was like in the 12th, all of that was happening. कि PMT दिया मैंने.
अच्छा.
सब कुछ हुआ. मैं Allen गई. It was like a torturous time of my life.
Oh my god.
But then at the same time, I was also in photography club in school. So that was keeping me up. Like I used to go to all competitions, and you know, and like I won a lot of them. And then I realized, okay, maybe you know this is my calling, because clearly in studies nothing is happening, and this here at the other end, I'm really doing well here.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, maybe you know this is not meant for me. Maybe this is.
And you were always open कि मतलब वो नहीं था. एक तो obviously ऐसे hypocritical family नहीं होती तो obviously वो stigma नहीं होता कि यार अब डॉक्टर ही बनना है तो बनना ही है.
Exactly. तो वो freedom था. Like it's not like, and nobody was like telling me, putting like a gun to my head and be like, you know, you have to be this. But I was just generally like, okay, maybe I want to pursue this, and they were like, okay, yeah, go ahead, try it out.
And how did MG, like, tell me a bit about your school life, MGDians जो भी सुन रही हैं for them. I like, मैं personally एक story बताऊँ. I was in NMIMS में मुंबई में थी. मैं जिसको भी बताऊँ ना मैं जयपुर से हूँ, everyone that is MGD or step by step, like these are the only two schools that exist for them. I'm like इन दो के अलावा भी और बच्चे निकलते हैं, like
बहुत दुनिया है.
So how did like photography club कैसे support करते थे?
So basically we used to like, उस time एकदम ना नया बना था स्कूल में तो like it was like very, like, we were in 7th 8th when the club system started happening. They had different clubs for everything, and I was like, okay, maybe I want to go and see what happens here. Like, you know, just try it out. Camera तो birthday पे मिल ही गया था, मतलब देखते हैं. So then all of that used to happen, and I think for me, schooling, the environment that I got, the freedom that I got to do whatever I wanted, I think the school really provided that. Like I was like talking to a lot of people, just some tuitions पे मिलते थे उस time, whatever. They used to have so much restriction in terms of that. Co-curriculars इतनी नहीं है, चीजें मतलब there are not teachers for certain things, like you know, all these different activities. For us that was like open-ended. It was actually added as a benefit when I went to college. Because people who what they were doing in college, एक तो बॉम्बे में जगह ही नहीं है, तो बहुत सारी चीजें तो वही sports, everything you can't do so much, right? But like with this school, when I went to college, it just added as a plus point, क्योंकि ये लोग जो festivals में कर रहे हैं, we've already done this in a school level, so we're very habitual of it. We always get an upper hand कि अच्छा we already know how to go about it. हमारे like school used to have so many like competitions, inter school, inter house. You're already in a competitive environment, you know how to function in it. Like you're prepared for the next step of your life. I think like school really did that, and I've made like amazing friends also, like great bonds.
What do you feel about girl friendships?
Oh, I'm very tight with them. I'm very tight with them. I think it's like my second family. Chosen family, as you call it. So I'm super tight with them, and they've come, like, I'm super grateful that happened, because that became like a bonding point. You grow up together, and now it's been what, 15-16 years we've known each other. We can't even imagine the other way. So I think for me school was like a great experience and a great like personality change that happened, and the kind of freedom they gave. Obviously पढ़ाई में obviously they will always be like कि कर क्यों नहीं रहे आप, but at the same time co-curriculars इतने थे कि आप बस अगर आपसे नहीं हो रही तो आप बस बहुत options हैं. Like people, sports was one thing. I was definitely like, I was into sports. I used to play ball a lot. I was playing till district level. All of these opportunities you only get because your school is providing them. So that really did help, except the bullying. बाकी सब बढ़िया था.
वो तो big time accept करता है कि ये तो है ही, अब आगे plus points देखो.
Exactly.
How has mental health been in the whole journey?
Whole journey यार, a lot of ups and downs. काफी fun है, मतलब to think of it in retrospect ना.
Yeah.
काफी fun है. So, it's just like you don't first of all you don't know mental health. Then you realize, oh, ये भी संभालना था, ये तो बताया नहीं किसी ने. So then that started happening. Then you start getting aware.
Yeah.
And then once you start getting aware, you start working on it. Ki, okay, this is probably how. And then you start realizing, you start being aware of yourself. Maybe this is a space that's making me insecure. This is a space that makes me happy. This is the way I love. This is the way I, if I'm sad, this is how I react. Express. Yeah. So all of these things you start realizing. And as soon as you start rationalizing these things, there's logic to it. I feel you're able to deal with it better.
Yeah.
मतलब अगर आपको पता है कि इस चीज से मुझे इनसिक्योरिटी होती है, तो मैं वो चीज नहीं करूँगी. मतलब अवेयरनेस आ गई है, तो I would not go and poke myself into that situation. And if it's like toxic, then at that point you just have to like tell yourself कि if this is your insecurity and it's like projecting on other people, you need to stop doing that. You need to consciously tell yourself कि ये बंद कर देते हैं. तो these awareness mental health के context में बहुत आ गई, which really helped. And now at this point I'm very happy about it. I'm full like I know my emotions, I can work with it, and if something new comes up, fun होगा, देखेंगे क्या होता है. It's like a challenge to give yourself. अच्छा देखते हैं अब ये वाले trauma को कैसे deal करना है.
कौन सा coping mechanism
अब क्या निकालेगा.
Nice. You're working with a therapist abhi? Yeah.
I've been in therapy now like 1.5 years on and off.
And I must say I don't want to give any sympathy and shit, but this Driveway Devi interview that you did, I'll attach the link below. Everything that you want to know about mental health, like I watched like the full video. और मैं मतलब I want to keep it to entrepreneurship as of now, but वो video you should definitely watch to
guys, go watch it.
For a better insight
on mental health.
What about your travel scenes, man? I love your travel photography as well. You should try it sometime.
I do whenever I travel. I do travel photography a lot, but like
last was Kolkata. Dubai, Kolkata.
Dubai was there, and that was Kolkata.
What are like your favorite places, pleasure places to be in, to relax?
Anywhere with a beach is great. I love
a beach person.
Yeah, but I don't know how to swim. I just like to be there and enjoy the ocean existing.
मेरे इस बार के mood board पे वियतनाम, बाली और गोवा लिखा है. I'm like dying for beaches at this point. I'm like मैं को डुबा दो पानी में.
Same, वियतनाम तो मेरी भी है. Bali is also there. Bali is supposed to be a girls trip, जो अभी तक हुई नहीं है. 5 साल से plan हो रही है. Let's see.
But you travel for work कैसे?
Work के लिए like मतलब Bombay or not Delhi, not so much. But yeah, mostly like right now तो I'm here only, like in Jaipur working, because there's
also. What is the new project you're working on?
So there are a few photography wise. I don't want to disclose them. Let's see. But I recently worked on a series. It's I don't have a name yet. But it's called like अभी के लिए मैंने उसका temporary नाम दे रखा है. It's called The Last Goodbye. So it's basically about 2 lovers who are meeting for the last time, and they're breaking up in a very very healthy manner. It's not क्योंकि everywhere on the internet it's like अरे toxic, अरे trauma. I'm like no, things can end very beautifully also. It can be a very mutual because of consequences, because of things for it to end.
Wow.
So
is that like a project or it's a personal?
It's a personal project.
So why cigarettes grey? पहले तो ये बताओ.
Yeah, okay. I will tell you. Grey is my favorite color. I'll tell you why.
Same.
Yes, let's go. I'll tell you why also. Because I as a person am very like always about black and white. या तो ये होगा या तो ये होगा. या तो ये होगा या तो. But like then you realize that things don't work that way. As you grow old, you realize that things are not always black and white. They're always in a process. It's like going from one process to another. Like life, that's how it works in my head. Like it's one process to another. And that process is always the gray area. So and that grey is basically the grey that I prefer to, and that's why we call as grey also, like the grey aspect. It's like because it's always in the process, everything. Yeah,
this is so nice.
Yeah, so it's the weather is also like adding up to the way I'm talking and the vibe. So थोड़ा gloomy सा हो रहा है grey की बात. Yeah, so basically that is what grey for me was. And it is मतलब for me it's like the process and I want.
नामकरण कब हुआ था?
ये नामकरण तो बहुत पहले हो गया था यार 20.
तभी समझ में आ गया था.
2013 में. तब ना it was अब it's become in habit. That time I did it so that I come into a habit of it. To put in context, everything in my life was black and white. So I was like, I'll put it grey.
Yeah.
So then I'll manifest it by
Oh.
saying it.
Yeah.
And it happened.
It happened.
And now it's always like I'm okay with the process. I'll enjoy the process more than the black and white of things.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So it just happened that way. And grey, of course, the color also I absolutely love. Cigarette came because I was like a stupid dumb 14-year-old. I'm like अरे cigarette लगता है cool है, Instagram पे सब ऐसे ही लग रहे हैं नाम. और उस time username
बहुत अच्छा काम आया है वो आपके. मतलब I'm just saying it's very fascinating to look at the both things coming together. Yeah, it's very nice.
Chalo, plan. No, but that came into being because of that. Because it was like that time I was feeling, and that time na Instagram was about usernames. It was not about names.
Yeah.
It was who has the coolest username. And like I will have a coolest username. And that's what I did.
मैं 16 में cigarette लिख दूँगी.
I'll be cool. Yes, that's exactly what happened.
Oh man.
Yeah. So that was fun. That's how the name came into being. Yeah.
Best and most challenging part of your job?
Best that I get to do what I love every single day of my life. I absolutely enjoy it, and I feel like it's I'm really grateful, and it's like I think it's like a blessing that I'm able to do this. Like, you know. So I think everything about that is like a best thing. Yeah. Because I'm able to do what I love.
Yeah.
Worst is, it's not the worst, but the challenging, like where I feel like sometimes it gets like a dilly-dally situation is when I'm dealing with clients. वो कभी-कभी ऐसा हो जाता है.
Like the business aspect.
The business aspect and the marketing aspect of that thing, no. Like मुझसे कितना भी करा लो और कितना भी shoot करा लो, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But as soon as you have to market it, as soon as you have to put it out there, it becomes a little tough because as a person I'm a little introvert, which will not feel like it now that I'm here. But like, you know, I'm a little introvert in the way I am. So putting out there, and एक तो self doubt भी इतना है. तो ऐसा लगता है कि खुद को क्या boast कर रहे हो, मतलब don't boast yourself so much, but you have to. With the market and the way people are functioning, you have to be out there and be like, you know, look at my work.
Confidence.
Yeah. So that is the challenging and the difficult part for me. Wow. But I'm getting there.
And I'm sure मैंने अभी तक जितने लोगों से भी बात की है ना, everyone has accepted that they were introverts at one point, but starting something of their own and you know, being an entrepreneur or a creator pushes them to a level that they have to do. There's no other way.
There's no other way. There is no other. And like initially, so you don't have a team also, so obviously you will have to do it. Yeah. Till then you can get a team and then tell them to do it for you. That's another way, but like it takes time.
Yeah, it takes time.
So that's the part of it.
And Vriddhi has a wonderful studio, a very minimal, very soothing. That's her brand, baby. By the name The Grey Space.
Right.
How did that happen? Abhi kaisa chal raha hai? Like being in the photography scene, I'm sure it's easier.
It's easier. Yeah, you can say that. You can say that. But initially, जब मैंने start किया था, which was basically COVID. It was a COVID baby.
Yeah.
Because I came back and I was like, oh, I need a place to shoot.
Yeah.
And I can't find any. And everything that I saw in the city was like underground. एकदम dark, dungeon, shady. And I was like, it doesn't work. Like, it's great, like, to have no sunlight and have light, you know, studio lights and everything. But for my kind of work, I would always enjoy like a natural light situation. Something that's very organic.
Yeah.
And then I found this place. And I was like, okay, let's try and let's make a studio. And for me, initially, it was like a studio for me. It became like a studio for me that I will come and I'll work here and I'll work out of here and you know I'll figure it out like at client meetings ये सब एक जगह पे हो सकता है. Then I don't have to like meet at cafes or whatever.
Yeah.
So for that aspect of things, it became like a great idea. But as soon as I started building it, I was like, कि अभी designer hire करने का भी पैसा we don't have. Like let's do it ourselves. And whatever I had in my mind that for myself particularly, I want something minimal. I want something that can change and shift the way I want it to. And I want it to have like greenery. It has to feel like a little homely also when you're working here. After that, जब वो बन गया ना, then I was like, oh, I can probably like see how people respond to this. Let's see how people would want to use this space. And then that's exactly when it happened, when I was like, okay, I put it out there for everybody to use. Even now, it's a place which will always feel like home. It will never feel like a place of work. And that's what I wanted to like make anybody who's coming there to like to feel. It's a place of work, but you'll always feel home here.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be very homely, ekdam shant, calm vibes that you're gonna get. Because that's what I enjoy, and I would want people who are associating themselves with the space would also enjoy.
And they have that sort of aesthetic they're looking for. Yeah,
if they want sunlight for a shoot particularly, they can have that. And having a place indoor with great sunlight, it also adds up like with photo shoots. And then it was not like photo shoots started happening, but my idea still for the space is not just that. My idea is to have pop-ups, have brand collaborations at the space. For a small brand to go to a, like, let's say if they want to do a pop-up there, for a small brand to go to like a bigger exhibition, they'll have to pay a hefty amount. And as you're a smaller brand, you don't have that much of and then you're like 20-25 जनों में आप एक हो. Here what I'm saying is you take the space, it's all yours. You create your brand, you market it yourself. You have a smaller space, your cost is less, all attention is on you. And you create whatever you want to create, installation, you want to create like a anything that's interactive, do all of that. And like curate an experience for your brand at the space, because it's a smaller space, so it's in your benefit as a smaller brand, as just starting out something. And I think that's something that I'm still working on with the space. There was a pop-up that happened, or a jewelry brand, and they put like so they had like all these jewelry kept, and they had like this station where they basically had like piercing station. So above you can do your piercing. It's such a small space, it's very intimate.
Was this ages?
So this was like a really interesting way of going about things.
Yeah, very nice.
So that was one thing that I'm still exploring, and I want to do like proper curated shows for brands at the space which are just coming up, or just like online and like want an offline presence, a pop-up like that. So those are things that I'm doing workshops at the space. Very intimate, very small, very exclusive. That's what the idea is. Because smaller scale ke liye na, it's very difficult to host like an exhibit, like book an exhibition space. It's very expensive. But for something like this, it's very doable for a brand, and it gives them like a better story. Again, it comes back to building a better story for yourself. It's not just restricted to shoots. And right now we're expanding. So that's what's up.
You're
that's
taking like the
first floor, like the floor above. Upper floor. So that's what's happening, which is super exciting. Now it's going to be a bigger space. Lot of aspects to it now. There'll be like a soundproof room or whatever. So people like here.
It can be a studio as well. Like
recording studio. Current spaces like video ke liye, it becomes very difficult for people to shoot. So what I'm trying to do with the upper wala floor is, jitne bhi artists there are, trying to accommodate all of them and be like, aap sab ke liye there's space, and it's gonna feel like home, and this is for you. So that's the idea. So if you're like, you wanna like do something video related, you wanna do something photo related, you wanna do something podcast, graphics, whatever, like you have this. You wanna, if you're a baker, you wanna host bakery workshop, you wanna host your baking sessions, whatever. Whatever kind of artist you are, I'm gonna provide a space for you, and I'm gonna give you a platform to a level that you can afford. Like it's not like too out there, because I can understand for somebody who's starting small, and there are so many people starting business now. My age people like, I've seen it around me so much. I feel like let's just help this cause that there is, and like build a better community for everybody. So that's the idea. 100%. Yeah.
I always
super
used to
excited.
think that, and I am sure many people used to think that this is just like a
Studio space.
Studio space.
Yeah,
photos
yeah.
खींचो जाओ.
But thoda that's a little bit like, I'll tell you, like a little bit मतलब block hai. People don't understand when I say it's a flexible and a fluid thing. I mean like you can do these things and now you know this.
Yeah.
I've been saying this for a while but people don't. अब मुझे दिख गया ना कि shoot हो रहा है. Shoot ही करते हैं आप. So it just kept happening. I'm not complaining. I'm happy.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that these are other aspects to the space which I am also wanting people to explore, and eventually it'll happen. I'm thinking I'll like we did a pop-up at the space. So basically what we did is we had like 4-5 different genre of brands.
Yeah.
So there's like a accessory brand, there's a stationery brand, there's a baker, there's like a clothing brand. So these are small scale brands.
Yeah.
But they're cross promoting each other at the same time. So they become, it's way more knitted than coming to an exhibition which is happening on Digi.
That's
Yeah, it's very knitted.
big, huh?
Yeah, it's very knitted. आप जाओगे, you'll see, you'll connect with the, you know,
Owners.
like owners very personally, and it's all cross.
understand the brand also more.
Exactly. It's all better cross promotion.
Wow.
So that's what we did, and
I think all the small businesses in Jaipur, this is something
definitely you all can
really nice.
reach out to us and we can curate a show for you guys.
I'll add her Instagram pages down below.
Yeah.
It was a lovely conversation.
Yay! I had so much
And I'm
fun.
so glad this finally happened. Like I planned it twice.
Way before we talked about it so before.
Yeah.
Remember.
But I'm so glad this happened.
I'm so glad.
Thank you so
This was so
much.
much fun. I don't remember इतना सारा ज्ञान मैंने कब दिया था last.
ज्ञान नहीं आया. This is all about your
All
life.
about my life. Yeah.
That is the
Fair
whole
enough.
idea.
Fair enough. But it was so much fun. I enjoyed it as well.
I loved it as well.
Yeah, it's the weather also worked out for us today.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I'll
It was
see
a
you
pleasure.
very soon.
Yes, you will.
अगर आपने वीडियोस हमारे पहले भी देखे हैं और आप इस वीडियो के भी एंड तक पहुंच गए हो और आपने अभी तक हमें सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो दैट इज़ वेरी हार्ट ब्रेकिंग न्यूज़. आप प्लीज़ हमें सब्सक्राइब करिए ताकि आपको सारी की सारी वीडियोस पे अपडेट मिले और हर लाइफ की स्टोरी से आप कुछ सीख सकते हो. इज़ व्हाट आई फील एंड व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू ब्रिंग ऑन दिस शो. तो कीप सपोर्टिंग. मैं ड्राइवे देवी का भी लिंक डाल दूँगी नीचे जिसके बारे में हम कॉन्वर्जेशन में बात कर रहे थे क्योंकि अगर आपको एक होलिस्टिक पिक्चर चाहिए वृद्धि के लाइफ के बारे में यू नो वेयर इज शी कमिंग फ्रॉम, उनकी मेंटल हेल्थ ओवर द इयर्स, हाउ हैज शी स्टूड up strong and strengthen herself emotionally. Do check out that video as well. बहुत मज़ा आया वृद्धि के साथ कॉन्वर्जेशन करके. अगर आपको भी मज़ा आया प्लीज़ सब्सक्राइब करो और नेक्स्ट वीडियो में मिलते हैं. बाय बाय.